This next thing I'm going to show you is definitely, out of all the tools of object-oriented programming, probably the most powerful. It's the concept of inheritance. Now, there's a lot of different metaphors that you can see online for what inheritance is, and they don't really show you what the actual use case is and how to use it appropriately. So I'm going to show you why this is so cool and why you're going to love using this particular technique, because it is one of the most powerful things about any object-oriented language, and Java does it very well. So here I have a bot class. In it, it's basically for making a robot, and as you can see, we have a name. It has a getter and setter for that, and it has this talk method. That's great. Let's assume that this was a really complex robot, and I spent a lot of time creating all these different things that were appropriate for my robot to do many different things. Well, great. I spent all the time making that, and now I have a class that's functionality is really looks like concerned with setting and getting a name and dealing with this talk idea. Okay, now let's say I wanted to make another type of robot. Let's say I want to make a robot that tells jokes. So I'm going to go over here to my joke bot. The thing is that I want my joke bot to do everything that the regular bot does. I just want to add some functionality. Well, that's where inheritance is so useful. See here how I have a new keyword, extends. JokeBot extends bot. Well, what does that mean? What it means is I'm going to have a new class, and it's going to have everything that bot has, including everything I write here. So you can now see that even though you don't have a particular method called talk, I can actually use the talk method right down here. That's because JokeBot is actually a conglomeration of both bot and the code that I put here. Now, not only is that powerful for your own code, but this means that anybody who writes a class you can extend from. You can extend the functionality of anything that's been written before. And using accessibility keywords, you can even define what people should and should not use of that extended functionality. In fact, I can do that one more time. I can go here and make a comedian bot, and comedian bot does everything that JokeBot does and bot does, plus some extra functionality. This is amazing. It means that I can continue to reuse my code. This idea of taking some particular object and extending its functionality through inheritance into different types of bots is called polymorphism. It's a really complicated word to basically mean that I have something that can turn into other things, almost like a transformer. You can even set up situations where you can take the functionality of something that was your parent class, in this case JokeBot, and you can rewrite it on the fly. Maybe the parent class does it in one way, but you kind of want to do it in a different way. So here in JokeBot, we have this thing that says say joke. And what it does is it runs talk with the get joke setup, and then it runs talk with the joke punchline. That's going to be two different talk commands. Well, let's say in my comedian bot, I'm like, well, you know, I really want it to just say it in one line. Well, I can do that by doing this override. Now, if I were to take this and use our technique of generators and setters, I'm going to press Command N. You can see that I have override methods down here. Using that, I can actually get a whole menu list of all the different things that I can override and change. So in this particular case, I'm going to say, you know that say joke? I want to change how that works. Well, it's going to go ahead and give me the exact same method signature, except we see something a little different here. We see this thing that says super. Super is a keyword that is replacing what your parent class is, your super class. In this case, JokeBot is our super class. So super say joke is literally saying go up and above, go to my JokeBot, and run this method, passing in the same parameters. Well, if I were to do this, I definitely would get the exact same functionality. If I wanted to then do something different, like let's say I wanted to log another thing that says, you know, bot, hey, that joke was funny. And let me fix this log statement. Okay, now what's going to happen is when someone says say joke on my comedian bot, it's going to do the exact same thing that JokeBot did, but it's also afterwards going to run this code. Well, what if I don't want it to do the thing that the JokeBot thing is doing? What if I completely want to override that? It's as simple as just deleting that line. And now I can actually override what say joke does on the fly. In this case, I actually want it to do it in one line. I'm just going to copy this code, Go back over to my comedian bot, and rather than doing it in 2 lines, I'm just going to have it do that plus a space plus a joke, get joke punchline, and then I'll just change this here, remove that. And now I've completely replaced the functionality of say joke from my parent class to do what I want to do. And I didn't have to rewrite a whole new class. I just overrode the functionality. This particular override keyword you'll see whenever you're doing that. It doesn't actually say to Java, hey, I'm going to override this method. It's just a keyword to help the compiler know whether or not you're actually expecting to override functionality. For instance, if in JokeBot I weren't to have a sayJoke method at all, you'll now see that in our comedian bot, we get an error because it's telling us, hey, I know you think you're overriding something, but none of your superclasses actually have anything to override. So if I put that back, you'll see in my comedian bot, it's now happy, and I have overridden the functionality that I want without having to write a whole lot of new code. Using inheritance and polymorphism, along with knowing the super keyword to override functionality or do some of that functionality add on to it, is what's going to allow you to have this huge runaway effect of adding more and more code without having to rewrite the things that you already wrote. It will also help you tell where to put code. For instance, if I had a media class, I could put in something that has a length and a title, and then polymorph that into a music and movie class, letting each of those particular classes still have the functionality up above, but having them polymorph into more specialized components. This part of object-oriented programming is what's going to allow you to make really powerful applications with the least amount of code.